Hi, welcome to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. Thank you for tuning in to part 5 of the Starting a Homestead on a Budget. To recap a little bit, in the first video, we talked about how I purchased the land when I had no money. I was able to go down and get a title loan on my car, enough for a down payment for the property that I purchased from the county auction. Once we got the property in video 2, I demonstrated how cleaning up the property was beneficial because the type of property I purchased had a bunch of material on it that was recyclable. So after sending it to the scrapyard, I was able to get enough money to be able to gravel the driveway, buy a gate for across the driveway, and also put in or pay my first month's mortgage. So that was beneficial. Video number 3 is an overview of how I purchased the house in the same way that I purchased the property. Now I want to emphasize, I purchased the house first before I even found Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. So I went down, the house was purchased in a way that a friend of mine who owned the home, she just bought the property, they wanted to build their dream home, so she offered to sell the mobile home to me for cheap. She just wanted to get it off the land. So I jumped at it. She only wanted $3,000 down, $350 a month, but I didn't have any money at the time, but I knew I could afford the $350 a month. So what I did is I went down and got the title loan on the car and got just enough to make the down payment, and then I paid that title loan off really fast and was able to make payments to her. Until we were able to pay the house off. So we paid it off really quickly. So now we own the title, we have the title of the house, we own it outright, and we then bought Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, bought the land through the same method that we used, and we are still paying on it though. We have in our budget fixed, that's why it's really tight right now. So the budget is in a way that we pay off all the debts and pay the mortgage off, and we get the mortgage on the land paid off in 5 years. It is a 20-year mortgage. I want to point out that the property sold at minimum bid price, so it sold for $60,000. That was a percentage of the value of the property. Even though it was seized for back taxes owed, there's 4 years of taxes that were owed on it. So they seized it for back taxes, but they don't sell it for back taxes. They sell it for a percentage of the value. So I bought it for, basically it was for half price. It was $6,000 down, so I went and got a title loan on the car. Again, I had built up enough credit and stature with this particular company. They were willing to give me the $6,000. I paid it. I used that $6,000, paid the down payment, got onto the property, and today is the anniversary date of signing the closing papers on this property. So this is a landmark. We've had it 3 years today. So, yay! Pat on the back. We well, okay, so once we got the land purchased, we cleaned it up, as I show in video 3, or video 2, we cleaned it up. Video 3, we set the house up. Video 4, we went ahead and built the barn and the chicken coop. Now, I built the barn and chicken coop from the recycled materials that I gleaned both from Acorn Acres at the other property I lived at, a mile down the road. We were accumulating material over a period of time. We brought it down here, and I used material that was salvaged here, and we were able to build the barn and the chicken coop and save a lot of money on building that. So that's the recap on the so far. Now, video number 5, which is this video right here, I'm going to do a quick overview on the other outbuildings that we had to build to get the homestead pretty much together and functioning. So at this point, I'm going to go in, and we went ahead and did redid the well house. I wanted to have the well, our water resource, well protected. So I have a series of videos on building the well house. If you want, go ahead and look at those. But it shows how I built the well house step by step. So I went ahead and built a new well house. I used all recycled material. The only thing I purchased was the paint, so it wasn't that much that I spent on the actual, well, house itself, but it came out really nice. And I also put in a what I call the bee barn. It's a box that I had built previously up at Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. It was no, over at Acorn Acres. It was actually housing the solar panel, or the solar, or the photovoltaic computerized systems in the battery bank. So since I wasn't using it anymore, I had intended probably to use it as a well house. Turned out to be too small, so we went ahead and decided to use it to contain all my supplies for my apiary. So I went ahead and restyled it, put a roof on it, painted it, and we went and stuffed all the things that pertain to the apiary into that little closet. So now we've got a bee barn, or a closet, in which contains all my beekeeping equipment. And just beyond that, we have set up the apiary, the actual bee hives. So the bees aren't in the hives right now. When I purchased the beehives, we brought them over. We had one colony of bees in the hives. We had a really bad forest fire nearby. The smoke came in, and I believe that is what caused the whole colony to collapse. We had a complete absconding of all the bees out of the hive, so we lost all our bees. Now this past summer or spring, when I was building the RV hookups for parking the RVs, I noticed a swarm of bees flew over my head, so I followed them, and they are now occupying a hollow tree up behind the barn. I have plans this fall to go up and get them out of that tree and get them into the beehive, so I'll have free bees. I love free. So that's what this whole series is about, is basically doing things on a tight budget, free as much as possible, and doing it as cheap as possible. So free bees, they came right to me. Awesome. Now we got the, that's it. I set up the solar, just completed that system. There's another series of videos go ahead and look at on my channel. It's called Going Off Grid. It goes into detail of how I set up my whole solar package. Now this wasn't cheap. Here it was cheap because I'd already owned it. We had purchased it, saved up the money, and purchased it. The initial package was about $12,000. We paid it off, and then we were able to set it up. Now the reason why we set the solar package up is because where we were living, the power company refused to hook us up, and even to get power lines up to where we were living, it was half a mile, and would cost upwards of, I think they quoted about $30,000, $26,000 to $30,000 just to run line and equipment up that far to get it back to where we were at. So that I had to explore other cheaper options, since I am living on a tight budget. So we came up with the option of setting up solar, and we now have solar. I've got it completed, it's programmed, it's ready to go offline. There's just a couple of more things I need to do, and we will officially, for the most part, go offline as far as the house goes. So now we've covered the whole homestead, on getting a homestead together and operational and functional, including the fencing and everything. So now we're ready to determine which animals we want on this particular homestead, and where we're going to put the garden, why we put the garden there, type of plants we plant in the garden, the orchard, things like that. So I'm going to save that for the next video, because I'm afraid this video went a little bit too long just on finishing up the little outbuildings. So I hope you stay with me, hang in around for the next video. I'm going to produce that next, and we're going to be talking about just the animals, the types of animals I'm choosing and I've chosen, and why I chose them. I'm Jerry Hansen, your host here at Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I want to thank you for coming. Look for us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, and we're also on Google+. I hope you do subscribe. Push that button down in the corner. I'm still having that little contest. Go back and look at the video on the contest announcement and what you can win. And I think you'll be happy with what I've got selected for you guys to win. So check that video out and stay tuned for more videos.